All right. You guys are fans of the TV show The West Wing?
Yes.
I mean, in the old days, yes.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So Kristen Chenoweth plays a conservative
Yes.
advisor who comes in to advise a liberal president. So Naomi, if you were in a mirror image, if you were an advisor to Donald Trump now, because he said, I've seen you on two-way, and I just want you in here. I want your perspective. And he and
That's
he
what he would do, actually.
and he
It was
and he called you into the Oval, and he said, I saw you with Mark and Hogan saying I had a bad week. Would you really tell him, yeah, Mr. President, you really had a bad week?
I would say to him that, it was a lot of wag the dog. And people are smart enough to realize it's wag the dog. If it was about his base, if it was about keeping them calm when they were turning on him like 4 days ago, and don't forget, at the beginning of this week, his base was turning on him. So we're not talking about a week. We're talking about the last couple of days. The beginning of this week, his base was turning on him for Iran. And then he flipped on it, 3 days later with NATO and did the best he could. Now, is that a great week? No, because his base was turning on him 3 days ago. So you can't just rely on wag the dog. Let's not forget, 3 weeks ago, 2.5 weeks ago, Elon Musk was fighting with him. And then suddenly ice storms Los Angeles, and then the protests start happening. And then that's happening, and it grows out of control.
What was he? I'm sorry. What was he trying to distract from? From reconciliation?
I think from the fighting with Elon Musk and
No, I mean this week. What was he trying to do?
Well, I mean, with Iran and what was happening, I mean, he had a large swath of his base. The Zionist base that supported him was turning on him. You had Laura Loomer and those folks, Ben Shapiro and all those guys who were turning on him. That was 4 days ago, 3 days ago.
So what's he doing to distract? What's the thing he's doing to distract from that?
Flipping the narrative. I mean, he's flipping the narrative and striking back against Iran, and then of course his NATO summit. But it's like every day is a year for Donald Trump. But the problem is that doesn't work. Like when we're talking about the midterms, it's not going to work. When we're talking about having a consistent, presidency where he can build a coalition, it's not going to work. At the end of the day, he's not able to keep his coalition together.
All right, Hogan, what do you think of that?
Yeah. Oh no, Mickey. No. The Iran nuclear strikes were supported by 93% of MAGA. The last poll I saw, 87% of most Republicans concerned about Iran getting a nuclear weapons, saying they couldn't. It was like, 77% of independents, 77% of Democrats. Coalition was not fractured. There were a couple of people out there who didn't like him going after Iran. But again, that's the peace through strength doctrine he had the first time around. They didn't like it when he moved the embassy to Jerusalem. They didn't like it when he killed Soleimani. And they said, the experts, time and time again, it would make the region devolve into chaos. It didn't. Same thing happens here. Peace broke out. I mean, who knew? So Trump not only has really strong political instincts, probably the best I've seen in my 30 years in politics, he also has the benefit of having been president before. So he understands the region. He understands a lot of the ins and outs here. He didn't have to learn. He did that already. So he's coming to this with a whole level of discernment and knowledge and wisdom that the first time around he obviously didn't have and had to pick up on the fly. But I mean, this week, the S&P, of course, hit its highest mark. He's got peace deals in Africa, for heaven's sakes. What he did with Israel and Iran, of course, huge as well. NATO paying 5%. I was at NATO in the first term when he said, if you don't pay 2%, maybe I won't protect you guys. Maybe America's not here to protect you. We're not going to be the world's piggy bank. The world lost its mind. And then the head of NATO, Stoltenberg at the time, pulls Trump aside and says, thank you so much for this. We need people to pay their fair share.